Welcome back to What the Score. Believe it or not, we're actually going to take a break from soccer and head to the green at Murfield in Scotland, where 156 golfers in the 2013 British Open are getting their clubs ready to compete in the third of the four major PGA championships. Lucky for us, we don't have to go across the pond to hear from a golf expert on what to expect from this tournament. And we have one here right now. So let's send it over to Brittany.
Thanks, Jason. This year's event is the 16th Open Championship played at Muirfield in Scotland. And did you know this year's winner at the Open Championship will pocket $1.4 million? Not bad for a day's work. Now that's out of an $8 million total jackpot. Admittedly, that was just a fun fact. We can't afford to give prize money to our guests, but I'm glad the person here with me today showed up out of the kindness of his heart. He's no stranger to the What's the Score set or to the game of golf, having over 20 years of experience promoting, playing, and coaching the sport. Welcome PGA professional Scott Atkinson.
Thank you.
Well, first off, South African Ernie Els is the defending champ at the Open, and he's back again. He hasn't been to Muirfield since 2002, but he says he loves the links golf course. So what type of play do you think we can expect from him?
I think Ernie will play very well. He loves this golf course. This golf course, of all the British Open venues, or excuse me, the Open venues is the way that we call it British Open over here. They call it the Open. Obviously, it's the world's oldest golf championship. But this is the fairest test of all the golf courses. It doesn't have all the quirky bunkers. It's fair. It's, like you said, 16 championships will have been held here. And I think that when you look at the list of players who have won at this venue for the Open, it's every one of them is in the Golf Hall of Fame. Jack Nicklaus won there, Gary Player's won there, Nick Faldo's won there, Ernie Els has won there, and so it's probably the fairest test of all the links courses that you have in the rotation for the Open Championship.
Well, mentioning the course, let's talk a little bit about it. Traditionally, they go up one side, back down the other. This one's a two-loop layout, one clockwise and counterclockwise, and assuming the wind direction stays the same throughout a round, you could be facing different types of wind at every hole. So how should a golfer approach the tee? What do they need to do for that?
Well, that's very interesting. Phil Mickelson himself is not even carrying a driver this week because of the wind, because of which is a club that gets the highest loft of any of the clubs that you hit. So you've got to keep it lower. You'll get a lot of run here. A links course, there's not very many of them in America because what they do, it's not water treated the way normal American golf courses are. Sheep graze on it. I mean, literally, especially at St. Andrews, that's what happens out there. So what I'm trying to say is that the golf course is hard, it's fast, and so it's more about shot control. It's learning to hit shots that might land 75 yards in front of the green to roll up, which is a totally different mindset than what we play here in America, where everything is about great fairways, fast greens, trying to hit as close as you possibly can. It's a different mindset over there. So, a driver off the tee is not going to set you up. You've got to be able to control the distance, but also control your accuracy, and that's going to be who wins this, who controls their game. And this course is known as a course that reveals the best golfer because you have to hit all the shots.
Well, it's also an extended course from 10 years ago. It's extended by about 211 yards. What do you think about that?
In those conditions, that's not very much yardage. It's really not because, like I said, you're hitting shots that are rolling. You're hitting shots that you're having to calculate. It's really about feel. And 200 yards into 7,400 yards or 7,200 yards, as you can see, I don't see that having a great effect on what's happening. And it depends on what hole. Is it a par 3? Where did they extend the yardage?
Well, it's a par 71 course, so what kind of score under par do you think they'll need to have in order to win?
Well, that's a great question. I think that it's very difficult to talk about that today because it totally comes down to the weather conditions. In the U.S. Open, their goal is they want it at even par or over par. That's what they want to see happen. At the Open Championship, there are so many elements, or so much more involved because of the wind, because of the terrain, that I'm thinking, that's a great goal. 5 or 6 under, I think would be holding the Claret Jug.
Well, let's preview some of the pairings. We have Nick Faldo, who's, I think this is maybe his last time
Absolutely, I think
there. Tom Watson was the last American to win in 1980, and Fred Couples. So what do you think about that matchup?
I think that you can't count any of those guys out. I would think that Faldo would be the weakest chance because Watson and Couples are still competing. Faldo spends most of his time in the TV booth, but this is a place where strange things happen. And I mean, the British Open, the Open Championship 2 years or 3 years ago when Watson almost won, it just shows that if you control your game, the love of the game, that is so apparent to play over there because it is so dramatically different than the way we play the game on the PGA Tour here. I think that Watson should play well. I expect Watson and Couples both to make the cut, and Faldo, I just don't know how much he's playing. I don't know how competitive, what kind of competitive shape he's in right now.
Well, Scott, are you a betting man?
I hate to say this, but I might do that. I might do that on this. I got that app, one of the offshore accounts, and you're able to put some, we call it Diet Cokes on it. So yeah, I'm looking at it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, the betting favorite is Tiger Woods to end his 5-year drought in the majors. And what I find interesting about this is that he's playing in the afternoon. It'll be 2:45 local time there, and 43 groups ahead of him, 3 golfers each. It's 129 golfers ahead. How do you think the course is going to be? Will the fairways be beat up? I mean, what do you think?
No, there's no question that playing late in the afternoon on the first round gives you the only part that gets trampled is around the pin on the greens. But again, I feel like these greens, this grass is different than the bent grass that we usually play on in the States. And so I'm thinking that the traffic's, he's not at a disadvantage. I really don't think he is. Tiger's disadvantage or issue is going to be where Tiger is. Is he mentally prepared, which I think he's the mentally toughest golfer we've seen of this generation. I just think that his time is passing. I really do. Tiger's a fan. He's a fan favorite. He's phenomenal for the game of golf. I think we keep holding. Will Tiger win another major? I think he will. I don't think it's going to be the Open Championship. I think he'll win the Masters again. I just feel like the wear and tear of this game on his body, where he's missing is being able to consistently control his drives, which we've already talked about is going to be a problem if you don't drive it in the fairway here. And then he's not making the putts that he did. When his heyday, there was 2 people that made putts, and that was Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus. I mean, he's accomplished amazing things, and I'm not trying to take away from his career. I just feel like that we keep trying to hold him to a standard of 2000, and what is it? It's 2013. And it's 13 years ago that he played at that level and won 4 majors in a row.
Well, our time is already up, but I have to tell you this. A little birdie told me, no pun intended, that Bogdan and Jason can be really great caddies if you're looking for some.
Fantastic.
So
I'm always looking
want
for
to put
caddies.
that out there. Talk to them about it after the show.
I appreciate it, Britt. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you hear that, guys? Next time you're headed to the golf course, talk to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. Back to you.
Yeah, great stuff, Brittany, and thanks, Scott, for coming in again. It's so awesome to have Scott come in, and
Yep.
between him and Butch Harmon, and we do have our own Houston-based golf connoisseurs, if you will. So it's always, and
Good
you know
stuff.
what? You only get to hear them right here, and What's the Score, right?
That's right, for sure.
There you go. Well, coming up, Superman has finally landed in Houston, and a little Sharknado. Confused? Well, stay tuned to find out. We'll be right back.